Hey guys, I'm back with part 2 of the Tour 10 Shootout video tutorial. We're going to do the same thing we did before. This is all Power 1 balls, and all the shots are going to have, at the most, one side spin used to keep it consistent for when you use navigators. So I'm going to release the standard version of the notes that I've created. That's in a format that you're probably familiar with. It's like the horizontal version that is typically designed for, like, if you were to pull it up on a computer screen or something. I'm going to release that version for free to everyone. I want to go ahead and mention that I've created another version of the notes. It's a vertical version that I really like to use. What I do is I sideload it on the iPad that I'm playing on. So just like you would pull the slide over for your Wind app, you can just go ahead and put Google Slides in as well. And it just pulls up each slide of the vertical version of the notes. Here's just a little sneak peek. And I'll just swipe to which one I need to go to, or you can go through the bottom. And to go back to your Wind app, you can go to the bottom here and just swipe either to the right, or you can swipe to the left if you like. Either way, it works. And another way you could use the vertical version is if you use a second device. I know a lot of people use a phone for their Wind app and notes, and you can just pull up these notes on your phone and you wouldn't have to rotate your screen for any reason. So this would be really good for you if you're like me. I like to just lounge around when I'm playing, and I just like to have my iPad. I don't really like pulling up notes on a separate device if I don't have to. And this would be really good for if you're on the go or whatever. It's just a good option to have. And for the vertical version, I would like to offer exclusively to members. This is a membership that I've just launched, and if this is something that you're interested in at all, please go ahead and join and hit me up, and I will get you the vertical version that you need. So I want to go ahead and show you the curl references that I'm using in the video and in the notes, so you know what I mean when I say certain terms that I'm using. So here would be normal, no curl, and this I'm calling baby right curl. This I'm calling inner circle right curl, and I'm calling this mid circle right curl. Outer circle right curl, half a ball of right curl, about 3/4 of a ball of right curl, and 1 ball of right curl. And I'm doing the same thing for the left side, so this is baby left curl. Here is inner circle left curl, mid circle left curl, outer circle left curl, and half a ball of left curl. About 3/4 of a ball of left curl, and 1 ball of left curl. Okay, starting with Sequoia 2, here's a right to left tail crosswind. I'm going to do a sniper shot. I'm going to do 1 right spin and about 2.3 top spin. And I'm aiming the third bounce on the fringe with some offset. I'm adjusting plus 20% max. Perfect ball. Heartbreaking. Here's a left to right tail crosswind. And I'm doing almost the same setup, but instead I do half of a bar of right spin and 2.3 top spin, third bounce on the fringe, plus 20% max. And another one that's more crosswind and a higher wind. And I'm doing half a bar right spin with 2.3 top spin. Third, bounce on the fringe, trying to guess a good offset. Plus 20% max. So for this crosswind, I wanted to try a driver shot, and I'm going to apply about 6 backspin, trying to find a good landing spot right there. And then I added a bar of left spin. And I adjusted plus 25% minimum. And I did some left curl. And it looks like I just need a little less backspin here. Here's a left to right head crosswind that I'm going to do a driver shot on. I'm going to start with 6 backspin and find where I want to aim at, which is right around there. Then I'm going to do 1 left spin. I'm going to adjust plus 35% mid. Then I'm going to push up about 2 rings. And I did about mid circle left curl, which was a little too much left curl, and it looks like it just needed a little less backspin. Here's another one that's a little bit of a higher wind, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing 1 left spin and about 5.5 backspin. Adjusting plus 35% mid. Then pushing up 2 rings. Here's a headwind that's a little bit right to left. And I'm going to set up in the same spot. I did about 6 backspin. I'm going to adjust plus 30% mid, and then pushing up 2 rings. Here's another right to left head crosswind. And I'm adjusting plus 30% mid and pushing up 2 rings, and this is with about 5.5 backspin and a little click of right spin. Great righted this one. And it dropped, so I'm going to say it needed more right spin for this one. Here's another one from right to left. Setting up as normal with about 6.1 backspin. And I'm going to adjust plus 30% mid, push up 2 rings, and because it was a low wind, I didn't do any right spin. Because it didn't need it. Here's a pretty straight right to left crosswind that I'm going to do a driver shot, setting up in the same position. And I'm doing about 6.3 backspin. With approximately half of a bar of right spin. And I'm going to adjust plus 20% minimum. Another great. So that just needed a little less backspin and a little more right spin if you were to hit perfect. Here's another right to left crosswind, but on this one I'm going to be doing a sniper shot. And I'm going to do 1 right spin with about 2.9, almost 3 top spin. With the 3rd bounce on the fringe. Trying to offset to the right. Plus 20% max. A little hint of baby right curl. And it needed a little more curl or more offset. For Sequoia 4, we're going to start with a right to left crosswind sniper shot, and I'm setting up to the right of the bunker with the right blue by the rough and the left blue by the bunker. I'm doing 1 right spin and about 1.6 back spin. And then I'm going to adjust plus 5% max. And unfortunately, with this particular wind angle and this large of an adjustment, someone put a rock in our way. And then I'm going to pull back 3 rings. And you could also do the 3-ring pullback before you adjust, especially with that rock in the way. Then I'm doing half a ball of right curl. And it dropped. Sorry, Drew. Here's a right to left tail crosswind. Setting up to the right of the bunker with 1 right spin and 1.9 back spin here. Adjusting plus 5% max. And then pulling back about 3 rings. And about half a ball of right curl. And here's a tailwind shot that we're setting up with the sniper like we did previously. And I'm going to do 1 right spin and 2 back spin. And I'm going to adjust plus 15% max. And since this wind is pointing a little to the right, I'm going to do a little bit of left curl. And we did it again. Here's another left to right tail crosswind. Same position. And the only thing I'm going to do different here is just a little bit more backspin. So about 2.3 backspin and 1 right spin. Plus 15% max. And about mid-circle left curl. Here's a left to right crosswind, and again I'm doing the sniper on the right shot. I'm going to do 1 right spin and about 1.6 back spin. Plus 15% max. And about half a ball of left curl. And sometimes the game just won't let it happen, huh? They can't have that happen. Okay, here I'm going to be doing a min driver shot, and I'm going to set up just at min with the ball guide in between the dark and light column there before spin. And then I'm going to do one left spin and about 5.8 backspin. Plus 15% minimum. And I'm pushing up about 1.5 rings. And half a ball of left curl. This one is more of a headwind. And again, setting up at the min driver position with one left spin and about 5.8 backspin. Plus 15% minimum. And then pushing up about 1.5 rings. And I did outer circle left curl. Ain't that nice? They let us drop it. Here's another headwind. And I'm doing one left spin and about 5.9 backspin. And I'm adjusting plus 15% minimum and then pushing up 1.5 rings. And some mid-circle left curl. And is it gonna drop? Not today. Not today. Here's an almost straight headwind. And it's a low-ish wind. I'm going to set up at the min driver position with one left spin and about 6 backspin. And I'm gonna adjust plus 15% minimum. And then I'm gonna push up 1.5 rings with a little bit of mid-circle left curl, and I great righted it. So it looks like perfect would have been a bit closer. GG's, Shay. GG's. Here's a right to left head crosswind, and I'm going to set up at the min driver position again with one left spin and about 6 and a click of backspin. And because this is more right to left, I'm going to adjust plus 5% minimum. And then I'm going to push up 1.5 rings. And I did a little bit of baby left curl, which was not needed, and it needed just a little less backspin, so probably about 6 backspin here. And here's a right to left straight crosswind that I'm showing a driver option for. And I'm doing 1 left spin and about 6.2 backspin, adjusting plus 5% minimum. And just taking a straight shot. To sit nicely next to the cup. Okay, for Sequoia 8, when I use the sniper, I leave the target where it's automatically at no move target, and then I just push it straight up to the max power 1 position at plus 5 yard mark. So for this one, you'll see me, I push it straight up to max, and I'm going to use about 3.1 backspin. And for this right to left crosswind, I'm going to use right spin to offset about 4 squares to the right for this wind strength. So I have a base of like 4 squares for 11 miles per hour. Then I'm going to adjust plus 15% max. And it's going to miss just slightly to the left. Here's another right to left tail crosswind, and again I just push it straight up to max. And again I'm using about 3.1 backspin and some right spin to offset about 4 squares. Lower wind, you would need to offset less than that. I just plus 15% max. It was right on line. Here's another right to left tailwind angle that's more tailwind and less crosswind. Again, setting up in the same max sniper position. I do about 3.1 backspin, 3.2 backspin, and a little bit of left spin because I don't need to offset as much. And I'm adjusting plus 15% max. Here's a pretty straight tailwind, and I'm going to do about 3.3 backspin and half a left spin and line it up at the hole, and I just plus 15% max. Here's a left to right tailwind, and I'm doing the same setup. And I'm doing about 3.2, 3.3 backspin and some left spin to offset left of the cup for this wind angle and this wind strength. And I'm adjusting plus 15% max. And this one dropped. This angle is more crosswind than the previous angles. So I'm going to again do about 3 to 3.1 backspin, 1 left spin, plus 15% max. And I did a little bit of BB left curl. And I probably shouldn't have. And here's another one that's a higher wind. Same setup, 3.1 backspin, 1 left spin, which offsets you a little, about 1 square left, plus 15% max. And again, I did a little bit of BB left curl. And because this wind was higher, it needed just a little bit more left curl. This one is almost a straight crosswind. Because it's a little bit of a tailwind, I am going to set up with the sniper again. And I'm doing about 3 back spin and 1 left spin. Adjusting plus 15% max. I love this person's picture, by the way. And here I did about mid-circle left curl. And it was a little bit short. So now for headwinds, I do the same position, but I just push up to min driver. And I use my spins, and I'm going to do about 4.6 backspin and 1 left spin. And with the driver, I adjust plus 5% minimum. And I did a little bit of BB left curl. Which was not necessary for this one. Here's another left to right head crosswind. And again, I'm just pushing the target straight up to minimum driver position. Then I'm using about 4.7 backspin. And I did about 1 left spin. I adjust plus 5% min. Love a great right. Actually, great right this hole a lot. And it went in, so we got a little lucky there. For that low wind, I would suggest less left spin, maybe about 0.7. Here's a straight headwind that's probably one of the highest winds you can get. And I pushed it up to the minimum driver distance. And here I did about 4.3 backspin and 0.7 left spin. I adjusted plus 5% min. And I definitely needed a little less backspin and a little more left spin for that wind strength. Keep in mind that was a very high wind. Here's another headwind that's a pretty high wind, but it's got a little bit of a right to left crosswind. And I'm going to do about 4.3 backspin and a little bit of left spin, about 0.2. And I think if you had an extended ball guide, this would probably be about 1 square to the right. I adjusted plus 5% min. And I great righted it again and missed right. So that's always good information. Here's a right to left head crosswind. That's a pretty low wind, 6.9. Setting up at min driver distance. And I'm going to do about 4.8 backspin. Adjusting plus 5% min. And we were right on line, just a little bit short. Here's a pretty heavy right to left head crosswind, more crosswind than headwind. And again, setting up at the min driver position. I'm going to do about 4.4 backspin here and about 0.3 right spin, trying to offset about 2 squares to the right. Adjust plus 5% minimum. Got it perfect. Okay, here is a pretty straight right to left crosswind, but it has a little hint of headwind. So I wanted to try a driver shot. I'm doing about 4.9 backspin and about half a bar of right spin, plus 5% minimum, another great right. I apologize for the great rights. I do. I apologize. So for a little update on some of the older holes, I'm gonna start with Nordic 2. This is a setup that I saw Tony post about, and I started trying it out, but I have tweaked it a little bit. So I do want to go ahead and show some clips of the setup and how I've tweaked it and show what's been working for me. So we're starting with a right to left crosswind, and you set up with the left white ring by the rough back here. And I'm doing 1 left spin and about 3 top spin. I'm adjusting plus 20% mid. I missed just a little bit to the right. Here's a right to left tailwind, again setting up in the same spot with 1 left spin, about 2.3 top spin. So with spin, the second bounce is kind of before that fringe there. And I'm adjusting plus 20% mid. Got a good angle. Mahoney. Here's a left to right tailwind crosswind. And I'm gonna do 1 left spin and about 2.6 top spin. Plus 20% mid. And I do about mid-circle left curl for the left to right winds, just because I kept missing right. Nice. Here's a pretty straight left to right crosswind. Same landing position. I'm doing 1 left spin and about 3 top spin. Plus 20% mid. Some baby left curl. in the hole. For the headwind angles, we're still doing sniper in the same position. 1 left spin and about 4 top spin. I'm adjusting plus 30% max. And for the headwinds, I do a little bit of baby overpower. And here I did about mid circle left curl. And toilet bowled it. This one is almost a straight headwind, but it's a very low wind. But again, I'm going to do 1 left spin and about 4.1 top spin. I'm adjusting plus 30% max. And with a higher wind, I would still do a little bit of overpower, but since this was such a low wind, I didn't. Hit the pin, perfect. So for Nordic 7, I wanted to show a few more shots on the right side that I've been doing in the right to left winds. I set up with the left of the red ring by the rough. And I'm going to do 5.8 backspin and about half of a left spin. For this one, I'm doing plus 15% max. And that one was dead center. Here's more of a headwind angle, and again setting up with the red by the rough. For this one I did 5 backspin and 1 left spin. And I'm adjusting plus 20% max. Here's another headwind angle. Slightly higher wind strength. I'm doing 1 left spin and about 4.5 back spin. Plus 20% max. And a little bit of BB left curl. This one is almost a straight headwind, but slightly left to right. Setting up in the same spot, and I'm doing about 4 backspin and 1 left spin. Plus 20% max. And here I did a little left curl, about mid-circle left curl. And just barely missed to the right. For Gokasho 5, I wanted to go ahead and show this straight right to left crosswind. And I'm setting up with 1 right spin and about 4.5 back spin. And I'm gonna do minus 10% mid. And about half of a ball of right curl. And it was online, but it was a little too short, so probably about 4.3, maybe 4.2 backspin instead. Here's a left to right head crosswind. And I'm gonna set up with 1 right spin and about 3.9 backspin. I'm adjusting plus 10% max. And I'm doing a little bit of inner circle right curl. And missed just a little bit to the left, but it was perfect speed. Okay, and here's a straighter headwind. And I'm gonna do 1 right spin and about 3.5 back spin. Here I did plus 20% max. Inner circle right curl. For the HIO. Gokasho 7, here's a right to left tail crosswind. And what I've been trying out recently is with these higher winds that are more crosswind than tailwind. For a right to left, I'm setting up more to the left. And for left to right, I'm setting up more to the right. So for this one, you'll see me set up more to the left where the blue ring is almost touching the rough. And I'm doing, I think I did just a little click of left spin, I don't know why. And I'm adjusting plus 20% max. this one is way more of a tailwind angle. So I'm just going to set up in the middle like I usually do. And I'm going to do a little bit of backspin, because sometimes you get that bad bounce on the fringe where it just speed rolls through the green. So I'm trying to prevent that here. So I did plus 20% max. And about inner circle, mid circle, right curl. And there she goes. Here's one that's more of a straighter tailwind. And I'm gonna do about 0.3 backspin. Plus 20% max. Very close. So here's one left to right where I set up a little more to the right, where the right blue is by the rough. And I'm gonna do about 0.3 backspin. Plus 20% max. Mid circle left curl. Here's a left-right headwind angle. So I always start out with one right spin and full back spin to try to find the aim point that I'm looking for. And then I'm reducing my back spin to about 5 back spin and just a little bit of right spin, about 0.2 right spin. I adjusted plus 15% max. Just a little short. Here's a right to left crosswind, pretty straight crosswind. Again, I do the full backspin, full right spin to find where I'm aiming, right there. So here, I didn't take off enough backspin. I should have taken off, I think I should have taken off about half of a bar of backspin. And any day now, I should adjust plus 10% mid. And then I'm going to do about between 3/4 of a ball to a ball of right curl. And that's why I should have taken off more backspin. If you found this helpful at all, go ahead and send it to your other Tour 10 friends. And if you haven't seen part 1 of my Tour 10 shootout videos, go ahead and check that out as well. I will link it, and you can also just go to my channel and find it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.